I was a property attendant for a weekly and monthly hotel. My job was to clean the hotel's public areas, prep rooms, and maintenance. My 5th day on the job, I was mopping the hotel lobby, when a VIP guest came down with one of his servants. They stopped and looked at my wet floor. I reached my hand out and said, "Be careful when you cross." The man took my hand, and I helped him across the wet floor to the mat. Then I helped his servant across to the floor mat. My manager watched me from the front desk. The VIP guest stopped on the floor mat and asked me what my name was. I told him. Then he asked me if I played Halo. I answered yes, I do. He told me to come to his room at 3:30. I explained, I wasn't allowed to be in guest rooms for anything non-work related. My manager stood up and said he'll be there at 3:30. The VIP said good, and left the hotel with his servant. I asked my manager what I was going to be doing at 3:30. He smiled and said, "Trust me, you'll have fun." The guest was from another country, and I started to wonder. I asked my manager if I was going to be taken or sold. He just smiled and said no, nothing like that. At 3:30 I was done with my shift, and went to the VIP's room. I knocked on the door, and was greeted by the woman from the lobby. She let me in the room, and offered me a drink. I said no thank you. The room was much nicer than the rest of them. It had a bigger TV, a lazy boy chair, and a larger bed. They had an Xbox 360 set up on the new TV. In the lazy boy chair sat the VIP. He stood up and greeted me, and shook my hand. He told me to sit on the floor, next to his driver. The driver was holding an Xbox controller. I sat on a pillow, and introduced myself to the driver. He looked at me confused. I assumed he didn't speak English. The woman sat on a small stool, behind the VIP. The VIP sat in his recliner with a glass of tea. The driver handed me a controller, and pointed at the TV and said play. I turned to the TV, and saw they had the new Halo game. They had a map all set up, and ready to go. The driver and I started to play a game against each other. We played a round and I won the match. The VIP guest started talking in a foreign language to his driver, after he lost. The VIP then pointed to his maid. She walked over to me, and handed me $20. The VIP said, again, and pointed to the TV. So we played another match, and I won again. The same thing happened. The VIP guest spoke to the driver again in another language. The driver looked ashamed, and the maid gave me another $20 bill. This happened until I had $200, sitting on the floor next to me. I started to wonder, what would happen if I lost? The next match started and I took a dive and lost. The driver got up and did a dance and was pointing at the VIP while speaking their native language. I assumed he was teasing the VIP or something. We set up another match and I won again. The maid gave me another 20. The VIP guest yawned, and said he was tired. Then he got up and went to bed. The driver shook my hand and went to his room. The maid walked me out and said goodbye. I didn't get a chance to ask any of them if the money was mine or what. I went to the front desk and asked my manager what the hell that was all about. He said he's paying you to be his proxy for him in Halo. Every time you won, he would talk trash to his driver and vice versa. I never heard of such a thing. I asked my manager if this was real money. He nodded yes, the guy is a prince or something, he loves video games but isn't very good at playing them. He asked me how much I got. I said $220. He nodded his head and said nice, I got $60 last week.
So that's how the other half lives.
Must be nice. Subscribe.